breakfast, declarations, and hugging it out. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's reaction and review of Daemons of the Shadow Realm, Episode 8. Yo, what's up? Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. My name is Mark, and today, if you want to see the reaction to the Daemons of the Shadow Realm Episode 8, you can check it out on Patreon. Link in the description down below in the pinned comment. And you can go check that out and then come back here and enjoy the review. So, this episode, as I always say, was really good. And as always, I have taken notes this time. And I've taken, I think, two and a half pages of notes. And we're going to be sitting here for a while, as always. So, with that said, make sure you grab your snacks, grab your drinks, grab your notebooks, and let's talk about the episode. So, also like and subscribe. But anyways, this episode was really good. We actually got to learn more about Hagure Sensei, who, it makes sense now why he's called Sensei, because it turns out he's a mangaka, which is really cool. And of course, Yuru doesn't know what that is, but we're not there yet. So first off, we get to see his daemons in action, because the master's like, yo, the Great Hall's a little bit of a mess. And Hagure is like, you want me to fix it? And he's like, yeah, please. And so he does. He pulls out his black and white daemons, and they're called whiteout and ink. And basically you apply whiteout and then ink to anything he wants to fix. And my question became, is he actually fixing stuff, or is he just like filling in the gaps, the holes and stuff? That's what I'm curious about. And also, apparently, where is it? The surrounding colors will eventually bleed back into the ink and like regain its color, because it starts out monochrome, as Data-san points out. But unrelated to that, or technically related to that, we also learned that his daemons depend on observational skills and imagination. So compatibility with him is excellent, and that's when we learn that he's a mangaka. We also learn that he's the oldest brother of Jin and Asuma, which is hilarious. When you look at Jin and Asuma, you think Asuma's like the youngest maybe, or Jin the oldest. It's definitely. But Asuma's the middle child, Jin is the youngest, and then Hagure is the oldest. And that's really, really funny. And we also learned that he's the next head of the clan, because he's the oldest. But he doesn't want to be in charge of the sketchy clan. And I wrote down, at least he is aware that his clan is sketchy. That's pretty good. He's very self-aware of that, which is good. Also, he's also a perfectionist, because he made the walls and mats too perfect. They don't blend in with everything else that he fixed. Would that make him a perfectionist? Yeah. Because perfection would, in this case for him, perfection wouldn't be perfect. It looks perfect, like it's brand new. It'd look as exactly how everything else does. Yeah, so he'd be a perfectionist. And so, now that's all set up, they start to have breakfast, or get ready to have breakfast. And these tiny little muscular daemons come out. They're like this big, I think. Like maybe this big, like a toy soldier size almost. Maybe a little bigger on one of them. And they just carry stuff out. They're actually kind of adorable, even if you can't see their faces. And even left and right are given a seat, because the master said that they treat all guests equally, even daemons. And there are a lot of daemons, bro. Not just those ones I mentioned, but there are like a bunch of them helping out, carrying different things out. They look so cool. I love the daemon designs. I just think they look so good, man. Let's see, anything else here on this page? No. Okay. Let me move on. And so now we get into the breakfast section, which is, yeah, this whole page is dedicated to basically breakfast. So, Yuru's eating, and Asa is obsessing over how he's eating. Like, he'll take a bite, and then she'll be like starry-eyed, like, brother's eating. He'll take a drink of miso soup or something, and she's like, brother's drinking. It's the shots of her are adorable. A little creepy, but it's adorable nonetheless. And so meanwhile, that's all going on. Jin is questioning Dera-san, because he's like, yo, are you involved in the assassination here? The attempted assassination? But then Dera's like, no. I came here unarmed just to retrieve Mr. Big Brother, Yurdu. And we learned a bit of information about the Taderas. The Tadera clan, Tadera, 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 Tadera. The Tadera clan knows how to slip through barriers. Dera supposedly does not, he says. I don't know if I believe him. It would not make sense for him to say that he does there because he's in enemy territory, so fair enough. And Jin is still sus of him, which isn't surprising. Jin is going through it, bro, this episode. He was going through it last episode and episode before that, man. But he's going through it. Like, he just is, man. And because he said the timing of Dera showing up and the attack and Yurdu showing up is too perfect. And that's actually valid. Like, Jin is valid for being suspicious of Dera-san. He honestly is. We also learned that Asa was in the hospital. That's where she was captured because and she isn't supposed to leave the mansion because there's less security everywhere else, including hospitals. But she had to go there because they don't have the infirmary does not have what they need. Because we learned that Asa was ill with a gastric ulcer. The stress of being on the run, having assassins come after her, and just everything going on with her caused a hole in her stomach. And honestly, I'm not surprised. Just like I would not have been surprised. I wouldn't even blame her if back when she was gaining the power of break, if she instead just chose to walk off. I would not blame her. Honestly, I don't. So, which is why I'm not surprised that she got a gastric ulcer from the stress, man. I'm surprised Jin doesn't have that as of now. But yeah, she was grabbed at the hospital, which kind of sucks for her, I guess. And then we start learning more about the village and that there are extremists, which makes sense. Because we know the Kagemori clan, there's a separate faction against that wants Asa and Yurdu for themselves, obviously. And Asuma's a part of that. I'm pretty sure. I could be a red herring, but I'm pretty sure he's a part of it. So we know that they're not a monolith. But we also now know for certain, at least according to Jeda-san, that the village is also not a monolith. And that there are also extremists. And that Jeda-san does not agree with the extremists, which, yeah, that makes sense. The Higashi village community that he's a part of was not involved in the assassination stuff. He's unaware of the assassins being sent after her, which isn't surprising. It does seem like Jeda is more, he's definitely connected to the village, but he's not as interconnected, I think, as say someone else in the village might be. And it probably helps that he does not stay in the village all the time. It's not surprising. And so, with that said, we finally learn about what the master wants. Because, I think it was Dera. Dera's like, yo, Master Kagemori, what do you want to do with the twins? And his words, paraphrasing, of course, because I didn't write the whole thing down. The master wants to destroy the village, or be rid of it, and make Asa and Yurdu the final set of twins. And honestly, he's kind of based. Just a little. He's just a little based. I think the thing is, he should, instead of the whole village, just the extremists, just the faction that Granny Yamaha is a part of. Get rid of them, and then try to integrate the rest into the modern world. Or help them get set up so that they can remain on the mountain still, even after Granny Yamaha and them are dead. Because obviously, it made sense that that I doubt everyone was involved in the whole Yurdu and Asa thing. At least I still don't think they are. So I do think I think a mass wiping out of the whole village is counterproductive, especially because some of the people there are probably still would probably be pretty helpful in some capacity. So I get what the master wants, but I kind of agree. He is kind of base, but at the same time, it's a little too much if you ask me. And but then interesting enough, or unsurprisingly, Asuma disagrees because he says he believes that power should be used to govern the people for peace, and he wants to control the village. And like he said, a suitable organization should take over, should control the village and all that, rather than letting them cease to exist. And I, I can see where he's coming from, but also I raised the question in the reaction about how exactly does he expect to control them? Because at the very least, Granny Yamaha is capable of using powers. So they'd have to figure out a way to control her in some way. And then they also have to figure out a way to include everyone else. To control everyone else. And that also includes, they also have to include, she also has to figure out how to control Yuru and Asa. Break and seal. I don't honestly see where he's coming from, how he's gonna do it. I can understand what he means, because at the same time, yes, making the twins the final set and getting rid of the village in the long run would probably be good, because you don't have to worry about chaos and cursing and stuff like that. At the same time, there is a chance that having the village around still and the twins is would be valuable for the future, for if there's a great threat to the world or something like that. It's it's a complicated decision to have. And if you're wondering what I'm looking over here, look at my notebook. I'm moving around, trying to find a good place for it. Okay, next page. And so, okay. So first off, Yuru, moving on from that conversation, Yuru does not want Asa to be ashamed of herself, because he noticed that Asa apologizes quite a bit. And he wants to know who made her feel ashamed of herself. Who made her be ashamed of wanting to live. Because before that, she had talked to left and right. And she was like, yo, and he was like, yo, you said that we're not the cause of the chaos. That it's always people that want to use our powers that are starting the wars and all that. And he said that it felt good, that he was happy to hear that. It gave him solace that he was at fault, because that helps give him the desire to live and the affirmation that he's allowed to live. Which, that's kind of depressing if you think about it. That he needed to have the desire to live. I would not be surprised. Honestly, I would not be surprised if Yuru was depressed. Genuinely. After what he's been through. Even when he was a kid. I would not blame him if he was depressed and stuff like that. And yeah, so he doesn't want Asa to be ashamed of herself. And he also wants to live like everyone else does. He just wants to live now, which is nice. And then Yuru makes a wild declaration to the Higashi village extremists, the Kagemori clan extremists and everything. And he says he will not run or hide. And he will not be a coward, but that anyone that comes after him, he will defeat them, and then he will squeeze them for every information that they have. And honestly, he's so based for that. It's not often, at least nowadays, at least from what I've seen, it's not often that we get a main character like him who is willing to make declarations like that, but then also be like, yo, if you come at me, I'll beat you, but then I will make you give me all the information you have. Because a lot of main characters, at least nowadays from what I've seen, quite a few main characters, they're opposed to doing that themselves. So even if it's not torture, but very much questioning them. They're kind of opposed to that, or they give up too easily. But Yuru, he's willing to get his hands dirty, which is something I do appreciate about him as a main character. I've said this before, that I appreciate Yuru as a main character. I still do. But then Asa is like, yo, you idiot big brother. And she's like, yo, I don't want you. Basically, I'm going to paraphrase again because I didn't write down the entire thing. Asa does not want Yuru to suffer like she did, and calls him an idiot because basically she's like, yo, do you know what I've been through? You don't know what I've been through dealing with everything going after me like that. And then you're like, yo, I'll take everything on. Like, when she puts it like that, he is kind of an idiot. She also doesn't want him to throw his life away, which obviously that makes sense. That she doesn't want him to throw his life away. But then she tries to get right and left on her side, but then she looks over and they're excited at the prospect, bro. They're just genuinely they're like so excited, especially left or right. Right's the big. I keep forgetting who's who, bro. Left is the woman and right is the guy. Left, right. He's like, yo, excited. Left, she's glowing at the prospect of a fight, bro. And that's funny to me. But then, moving on from that, the Kagemori master, whose name Gonzo, he asks Yoru to join the Kagemori clan. Says that he makes sure that he's taken care of and that he'd be comfortable. But unsurprisingly, I guess right now, he says no. Like, a part of me did think that he might say yes, if only because Asa's there, what he thought was his supposedly real sister is there. But at the same time, it's also not surprising because he then says that he does understand their ideals, but he does not accept them, which honestly, at least he can understand them. That's better than like other main characters that would just give like a blanket denial and like they would refuse to understand the other side's ideals. But I appreciate that he does understand their ideals. He doesn't have to accept them, but at least he understands them. And so that's cool. And honestly, I'm not really though, I am not really surprised that he didn't join. He's gonna stick with Deta and stuff, like, that's cool. And then Deta's like, yo, I'm his guardian, so I just gotta go follow his lead, man. Because of course he is. I like Deta, man. I love Deta-san, man. He's just so cool. And so moving on, finally, they're like at the gate, ready to leave. And Asa blows Yoru's mind by showing him a photo that on her phone of their parents. It looks like they took a selfie, which is funny to me. I'm just imagining them like adapting so well that they now take selfies, and that's just super funny to me. And it was before they went missing, and their dad aged really well, but he's like, Yoru's surprised, bro. He's like, yo, are they in like a what do you call it, a wood or a brick something? I don't know what they called it, man. But like it was some like ancient thing. And but she says no, not quite. It was an advanced kind of shore. And like left and right were also interested. And finally, Asa's like, yo, let's get a photo, because they do get a photo. And then the left and right, they want to get in the photo as well, but unfortunately they can't, because like they're Daemons. Technically they're like spirits, so they don't show up on photos, which kind of sucks, honestly. I feel bad for them. They were so excited at the prospect of getting a photo taken, but now they're so sad. I feel so bad for them, honestly. But then Yoru, before Yoru leaves, he's like, hey, can I see that picture again? And she's like, yeah. And this is a nitpick. This is the biggest nitpick of them all. But she shows him the photo. The least she could have done is turn the phone sideways and make it landscape. Make the photo go from vertical to this way. That way it's all bigger now. It's a small nitpick, but come on, man. She could have done that. I imagine if she's able to take photos and stuff like that, she knows enough to turn the thing sideways and look at it like that. But whatever. I can't really I complain, but that's about it. And then finally we get to see a little back and forth between Jin and Deta about how they want to keep in contact, but Deta's like, yeah, I'm not giving you my address to a Kagemori. But then Jin's like, what about your email address or phone number? He's like, nope. And and Jin's just getting annoyed at this point because Derda-san, rightfully so, might I add, he doesn't want to give them information because they are still enemies at this point. But poor Jin, man, he can't catch a break. And so finally, Jin's like, fine, here, if you want to contact us, go to this business. And he hands Derda-san a business card to a girl's bar, which is how they're going to get into contact, and especially if he mentions his name. It's a business that the clan owns. And he's like, yo, go here, tell them my name, and they'll help you out and stuff like that. But then Derda-san gives him a cheeky smile and a tongue sticking out, and Jin knows that he's gonna buy drinks on his tab. That Derda's gonna buy drinks on his tab, man. Poor guy. Jin really does have it rough, man. But then just before they leave, they're actually leaving. Asa is like, yo, Yuru, our parents were heartbroken when they left without you. And it turns out Granny Yamaha got in the way of taking Yuru with them, and they were heartbroken that they couldn't take him with them because it took all they could just to take Asa. And honestly, I kind of was not surprised. Like, from what we saw of them, it did not strike me as like they'd willingly, without trying everything, they'd willingly leave Yuru behind. So I'm not surprised by that. I am kind of surprised that Granny Yamaha got in the way enough that like they could barely take her with them. Now I am curious why they didn't go back, because presumably if they could get out, they could probably sneak back in. At least the dad could, right? I could be wrong, but I feel like the dad could probably sneak in if he really wanted to. But that doesn't matter. And what's this say? I'm trying to read this. I can't read what I wrote. I wrote a little too small, this one. Something about Yuru is from then. I don't know. Point is, Yuru, it did help that Yuru is like now knows about this. That he knows that they didn't abandon him because they wanted to, but kind of because they had to. And so like I can't blame them, really. If they really did try, I'm not gonna hold it against them too much. A little bit maybe, but not that much. And so finally, moving on. Asa got her hug. She ran out past the barrier and jumped into his back and hugged him. And that was nice and sweet. And then Yuru broke down crying because now he knows for certain that it's Asa, because she not only hugged him, but also she placed her hand on his back and was like, take care, brother, or something like that. And it was a bittersweet confirmation, honestly. Like, it was bittersweet. It was sweet because, yeah, but it was also bittersweet knowing that, like, this really was like a fake Asa that he was with the whole time before. And it's just bittersweet. I feel bad for him, man. That's what it comes down to. I feel bad for Yuru, bro. But but now we go back to them after the gate closes, and Jin looks back suspicious or contemplating something, but then Asa's like, yo, don't put a towel on them. And Jin's like, very well, or something like that. And I wrote down, full bias, this is me fully being biased. But if Jin put a towel on them, despite Asa saying not to, I'd forgive him. I like Jin a lot. I simp for him. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that's how I feel. But we did learn that Asuma put a butterfly tail on Yuru. Which, I mean, fair enough. That's not surprising. That's like the least surprising thing. Now, is the butterfly a daemon, or is the butterfly just a butterfly controlled by a daemon? That's the real question here. With that said, though, as I said earlier, hold on, let me check my pen. Okay, pen's close. As I said earlier, this was a great episode, man. I've covered everything I want to talk about, and I am, of course, as always, very curious what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Did you like this episode? Let me know. Let me know what your favorite part of the episode was, and again, let me know what your thoughts are about what I've said, as always. And you can, of course, check out the Patreon down below for the reaction over there and the pinned comment. And you just become a member, and you also get a shout out at the beginning or end of every single one of my videos. And also, like, subscribe, the notification bell, hype the video in the YouTube mobile app. And yeah, with that said, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, my name is Mark. Never stop being yourself, stay simple, and I will see all you incredible people in the next video.